Someone asked me recently what my best client transformation was. What's the one that I'm most proud of? And whilst I don't like the idea that I'm more proud of one client and less proud of the others, there is one client transformation that stands out for me for very different reasons. Now, unapologetically, my specialist areas are about people looking good. It's fat loss, it's muscle building. However, I had someone come to me who could not have been less interested in these goals. So a few years ago, I was working at LA Fitness in Oxford, and I started working with an elderly gentleman called John. John was a lovely guy. He was 77 years old, and unfortunately had suffered a very, very severe motorcycle accident 36 years prior to us working together. So he had spent a long time in hospital, had a extremely slow rehab process, and still really, really suffered with just day-to-day tasks. So John was exceedingly frail, very, very weak, and used to get pain just doing, basic functions. So getting in and out of chairs, he couldn't do unless he was holding on to something or someone was helping him up. He could walk, but he was very unsteady on his feet, and he would have to hold on, use his walking stick in both hands. So when he'd go up and down stairs, he would hold onto the rail with one hand, put as much strength as he could, and use another stick in the other, or I would be supporting him. Now, John had more than one serious injury due to the unsteadiness on his feet. So he was wobbly, he didn't have much strength, and his eyesight was bad. So when he would walk, he would have to close one eye and squint with the other to try and find where the floor was, because he would lose his footing and would stumble over. So there were instances where he would come to the gym and his face was covered in cuts, and he said that he had blood coming out of his ear because he had just fallen over in the street and landed hard, face first in the road. So I'm not overplaying this by saying my goal for John was for him to be able to live longer and improve the quality of his life. So when we first started working together, I knew that he had to get better at step-ups, squats, just things that he had to do on a day-to-day basis where we needed him to be as steady on his feet as possible. So in the first session with him, we had an aerobic step out on the floor. It was only about this big, and I just used to get him standing up and down off the step. Now, he couldn't do this without holding on to someone. So he would either have to hold on to me or hold on with both hands onto the windowsill in front of him, despite the fact that he had had personal training 3 times a week for years. I mean, literally spent tens of thousands of pounds on personal training. So this was, it was worrying, because if he can't stand on something this big without wobbling and falling over or, having to hold on to something, what's he going to do every time he's in the street on his own trying to get up and down off a pavement or a sidewalk, as Americans would call it? So this is what we strive to work on. Now, John's memory was very, very poor, so much so that he couldn't remember what happened session to session. He would just come along, do exactly as I told him, and just plug away like a warrior. It's hugely inspirational to see. Now, over the course of a couple of months, he made massive improvements. So much so that I used to have people that I'd never met coming up to me afterwards and saying, I've seen how much progress he's made, and it's incredible to see. So about 8 weeks into our training, he was able to get on this step unassisted. However, he could also increase the height of this step 8-fold and still stand up on it unassisted. So we had 7 aerobic risers and the step on top, and he could stand up and down off that step repeatedly without holding on to anything and without me having to keep my hand on his back. That's how much he'd improved, and it was just amazing to see. Now, this is the bit that changed for me. At the end of that session, because John's memory wasn't very good, he didn't know how much progress he'd make. He would just do whatever, came naturally to him. When we get to the bottom of the gym stairs, he used to kind of pause, find the banister, kind of squint and find where the steps were, put his stick in one hand or hold on to me. Except today was different. He got to the bottom of the gym stairs. He put both sticks in one hand and walked completely normally up the stairs. Didn't hold on to anything, didn't hold on to the rail. Front foot just consecutively in front of the other. Didn't use his sticks, didn't hold on to me. And I stood at the bottom of the stairs, mouth open, just in awe of what I'd seen. I'd completely forgotten to even stand behind him and escort him, because he just walked off at such a pace that I stood there. And I welled up and got so emotional about it, just like I am now, because as much as I love helping change the way that people look and help them with their confidence, John's goal was so much more important for him. And seeing him make that progress was the most beautiful thing to watch. And it's life-changing for him. And that's my most proud client transformation. So I hope you enjoyed it.